Right now, somewhere off the coast of Italy, there are concrete structures that have been sitting in the ocean for 2,000 years, and they are stronger today than the day they were built. Meanwhile, the concrete we poured 60 years ago is already falling apart. Engineers have spent over 6 decades trying to figure out what the Romans did. They have the original structures, they have analyzed the ingredients, they have run the experiments. They still cannot replicate it. This is the story of the most durable building material in human history, a material invented 2,000 years ago, lost for over a millennium, and to this day, beyond the reach of modern science. In the next 10 minutes, you are going to find out exactly what the Romans knew, what ingredient they used that we dismissed for centuries, and why the concrete industry, even after recent breakthroughs, still admits it cannot build what they built. Welcome to Lost Blueprint. What the ancients built, we cannot replicate. Let us be clear about what we are actually talking about here. This is not a fringe theory. This is not speculation. In 2017, a research team from the University of California, Berkeley and the University of Utah published findings in the American Gelation Handbook,
Mineralogist Journal, one of the most respected geology publications in the world. Their conclusion was unambiguous. Roman concrete structures submerged in seawater have not just survived 2,000 years, they have gotten stronger. The ocean, the very thing that destroys modern concrete, is the thing that makes Roman concrete more powerful over time. The Romans used this concrete everywhere. The Pantheon in Rome, still standing, still intact, nearly 2,000 years old, holds the record as the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome. Not the largest ancient dome, the largest in the entire world, to this day. Roman aqueducts built with this same material still carry water to the city of Rome today, not as a monument, not as a tourist attraction, as functioning infrastructure, 2,000 years later. And the Colosseum, the greatest entertainment arena of the ancient world, built with Roman concrete that still defines the skyline of Rome 2,000 years after the last gladiator walked out of it. So, what did they know that we do not? The Romans called their concrete opus caementicium, and for centuries historians assumed the secret was simply in the ingredients: volcanic ash, lime, and seawater, a recipe that seemed straightforward enough. In fact, the ancient Roman historian Pliny the Elder wrote about it in 79 BC. He described concrete poured into the sea and said, and this is a direct quote from nearly 2,100 years ago, "It becomes a single stone mass, impregnable to the waves, and every day stronger." Every day stronger. Not every decade, every day. For a very long time, scientists thought Pliny was exaggerating. He was not. To understand why Roman concrete is extraordinary, you need to understand what we replaced it with. After the fall of Rome, the recipe was lost completely. The knowledge died with the empire. It was not until 1824 that an Englishman named Joseph Aspdin invented Portland cement, the basis of virtually all modern concrete. It is made from limestone and clay, ground down and burned at 1,450 degrees Celsius. It is strong, it is fast, it is cheap, it dominates every construction project on Earth. And in seawater, it begins crumbling in as little as a decade. Modern concrete is chemically inert. It does not react with its environment. It simply holds, until it does not. Roman concrete used a volcanic ash called pozzolana, named after the city of Pozzuoli in the Bay of Naples, where enormous deposits of it were found. The Romans mixed this ash with quicklime and seawater to create a mortar, which they then packed around chunks of volcanic rock. Simple, elegant, seemingly nothing that modern science could not reverse engineer. And yet, for the longest time, whenever scientists tried to recreate it, something was missing.
The structures they built did not come close to the durability of the originals. The answer, it turned out, was hiding inside the concrete itself, growing crystal by crystal over centuries.
In 2017, the Berkeley, Utah research team did something no one had done before. They used some of the world's most powerful X-ray beams, the kind normally reserved for mapping protein structures at the atomic level, and they turned them on 2,000-year-old Roman harbor concrete. What they found inside stopped them cold. Growing inside the concrete were crystals of a mineral called aluminous tobermorite, fine interlocking plates like microscopic armor woven into the very structure of the ancient material. This mineral is rare, it is expensive to produce in a laboratory, and it had been growing spontaneously inside Roman concrete for 2,000 years. The seawater, the very thing that would kill modern concrete, was triggering a chemical reaction with the volcanic ash, and that reaction was producing tobermorite, which grew into every gap and crack, making the concrete stronger with every passing decade. But it gets more remarkable than that. A 2023 study published by researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology found something even more extraordinary. The Romans used a technique called hot mixing, combining quicklime directly with volcanic ash at very high temperatures, rather than mixing it with water first as we do today. This created small, bright white chunks inside the concrete that scientists had always assumed were a sign of poor craftsmanship, impurities, mistakes. They were wrong. Those white specks are lime clasts, and when water seeps into any crack in the concrete, those lime clasts dissolve and release reactive calcium, which then forms new calcium carbonate crystals, which seal the crack shut. Roman concrete does not just resist damage, it heals itself, automatically, without any human intervention, for 2,000 years.
So here is the question that should be keeping civil engineers awake at night. We now know the ingredients, we know the technique, we know about the pozzolana, the hot mixing, the tobermorite, the self-healing lime clasts. Why can we not simply build it? The answer is equal parts scientific and economic, and it says something uncomfortable about the world we have built. First, the specific volcanic ash the Romans used, the pozzolana from the Bay of Naples, has unique chemical properties that are very difficult to replicate with substitutes. Researchers have found similar volcanic materials in other parts of the world, but the chemistry is not identical. Second, the self-healing and strengthening reactions happen slowly. Roman concrete gets better over decades and centuries. Modern construction operates on schedules measured in weeks and months. No developer will wait 100 years for concrete to reach peak strength. Third, and this is the one nobody likes to talk about, Portland cement is one of the most profitable industrial products in human history. The global concrete industry is worth over $600 billion annually. Roman concrete, with its slower curing time and specialist ingredients, threatens that entire market. We know how to build like the Romans. We have chosen, for reasons of economics and speed, not to.
Consider what this means in practice. The Pantheon has been in continuous use for 1,898 years. It has survived earthquakes, wars, floods, and centuries of neglect. Its unreinforced concrete dome, with no steel rebar, no modern additives, nothing, remains structurally perfect. There are Roman bridges in Spain and France that still carry vehicle traffic today. 2,000-year-old bridges under modern load. The Pont du Gard aqueduct in southern France, 3 tiers of arches rising 49 meters above a river, was built without mortar in the upper sections, just precisely cut Roman stone. It has stood for 2,000 years. Meanwhile, the Morandi Bridge in Genoa, Italy, built in 1967 with modern reinforced concrete, collapsed in 2018. 43 people died. It was 51 years old. Roman concrete is not an isolated case. It is part of a pattern that runs through the entire ancient world. a pattern that we at Lost Blueprint are only beginning to document. Damascus steel, a blade alloy from the ancient Middle East so superior that modern metallurgists cannot recreate the exact carbon nanotube structure found in original 9th century swords. The technique is gone, lost with the craftsman who forged it. The Iron Pillar of Delhi, a 6-meter column of solid iron cast 1,600 years ago that has stood outdoors in the Indian climate for 16 centuries and shows virtually no rust. We still do not fully understand what metallurgical process made that possible. The ancients were not primitive. They were not lucky. In many cases, they were operating at a level of materials mastery that we have not yet matched. And concrete is where that story is most undeniable.
The story does not end with the ancient world. In 2025, a team of engineers published new research in the journal Science Advances, comparing the raw material and energy requirements of Roman-style concrete to modern Portland cement. Their conclusion? Roman-style mixes require more water and more initial energy to produce. But over their lifespan, which is measured in millennia, not decades, they are dramatically more sustainable, more cost-effective, and more environmentally sound. Concrete production currently accounts for approximately 7% of all global greenhouse gas emissions. If we built with Roman concrete, structures would last 10 to 20 times longer. The concrete would need to be produced a fraction as often. The carbon savings would be enormous. Which leaves us with a question that Roman concrete, of all things, forces us to ask. If we know this material exists, if we know it outlasts anything we currently build, if we know it is more sustainable, more durable, and more economical over time, why are we not using it? The Romans had no computers, no electron microscopes, no material science departments. They figured this out by observation, by experimentation, and by building things meant to last forever. We have all of those tools. We have the knowledge, we have the research. What we lack, it seems, is the will to build things meant to outlast us.
2,000 years ago, Roman engineers stood on the coast of the Mediterranean and poured concrete into the ocean. Not because they had tested it in a lab, not because they had simulated it on a computer, because they understood something about the relationship between materials, time, and nature that we are only just beginning to rediscover. Those harbour walls are still there. Still standing, still getting stronger with every tide. The blueprint was never lost. It was right there in the stone, waiting for us to look closely enough to read it. If this made you see the ancient world differently, the way it makes me see it differently every single time I research it, then you are in the right place. Next week on Lost Blueprint, we are going inside Damascus steel, a blade alloy so advanced that modern metallurgists openly admit they cannot replicate the carbon structure found in original swords from the 9th century. And we are going to find out exactly why. Subscribe so you do not miss it. And if you want to go deeper on Roman concrete, I have linked the original MIT and Berkeley research studies in the description below. The actual science is even more astonishing than anything I have covered today.